Public outcry is intensifying against the U.S. government's treatment of Private Bradley Manning. He's the American soldier who has been held for 9 months without trial at the maximum security Marine brig in Quantico, charged with leaking classified government documents to WikiLeaks. Now, almost 300 lawyers, law professors, and authors have signed a letter protesting Manning's treatment, calling it illegal and immoral. One of the signers is renowned constitutional law professor Lawrence Tribe, who taught President Obama at Harvard and was an advisor in the Obama Justice Department until just a few months ago. But the U.S. government is showing no signs of relenting. Bradley Manning was arrested last May. In July, he was charged with violations of federal criminal and military law. Since then, he has been detained in Quantico and confined to his cell for 23 hours a day. For the 1 hour a day he's allowed out of his cell, he's shackled and taken to a recreation room where he's allowed to walk around, but only alone. He has been repeatedly stripped and forced to sleep naked or in a smock. Military officials say that the measures are necessary because Manning is on prevention of injury watch. But his lawyers say he's not suicidal, and brig psychiatrists have said there is no longer a medical reason for him to remain under that watch. Throughout all of this, Manning hasn't been convicted of anything. His trial date hasn't even been set, but he's still being detained like one of our most dangerous convicted criminals. Just last month, State Department spokesman P.J. Crowley said, quote, "What is happening to Manning is ridiculous, counterproductive, and stupid, and I don't know why the DOD is doing it." Now, look, I couldn't have said it better myself. Crowley resigned after that, and he now joins me live from Washington. Thank you so much for joining us. And first, let's talk about your resignation. After you made those comments, I suspect that there was a little bit of an uproar. Is it definitely connected to your resignation?
Well, sure. I said what I said. I stand by what I said. I think that it's not smart. I am a believer in this prosecution. It's very important in this digital age to send a clear message to those who are entrusted with our vital secrets to protect them. And I think the government will have a strong case to make that Bradley Manning violated the trust that was placed upon him. That said, the credibility of this prosecution is being challenged because of his treatment at Quantico.
So let's talk about that. I mean, put it into context for people, because a lot of people might think, oh, I don't know, a leak, isn't that what you do? You put a guy, in isolation for 23 hours, and then 1 hour he's allowed out. He's also is not allowed to talk to anybody. I mean, is this really abnormal, or is it perfectly normal as the government claims?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I certainly think that there are violent criminals for which you should have those kinds of cautions and precautions. But there's no evidence to me that, as you said in your opening, Cenk, that Bradley Manning poses a risk to himself or anybody else. This is largely a white-collar crime, obviously with very profound consequences. The release of these 251,000 cables touch on every relationship that the United States has around the world. It's of a scope and magnitude that is unprecedented. We've had leaks before as a government, and we survived them as a government, but it's the scope of this that is astounding. The prosecution is necessary. We should do everything that we can to protect our secrets in the future, but we do have within our society a presumption of innocence until proven otherwise.
You did something really dramatic. I mean, you were the State Department spokesperson. That's a huge job, and you called out the Department of Defense in a very, strong manner. What was it about this case that drove you to say that?
Well, I think it's recognizing that we operate today in a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week global media environment. Everything that we do as the United States is subject to international scrutiny. We have to understand this environment. We have to learn to operate with this environment. And as we do things, we have to understand the broader consequences of what we do. I recognize that in my position standing at a State Department podium every day, that as I enunciate the U.S. policy, as I call out other countries, to have transparent legal systems to treat their prisoners, with dignity and respect, we have to understand that our actions will be under scrutiny at the same time. And it was this the international reaction to what was happening to Bradley Manning that I understood, and I communicated that to the Pentagon.
Look, are we in trouble there? Because for so long the United States has been a beacon to the rest of the world. We have pushed for human rights. We're the ones that that created the United Nations. Now we're not allowing United Nations representatives to come meet him alone, which is sometimes what authoritarian governments do. Why are we doing that? And why is the Obama administration doing this? I thought this was some of the stuff that he ran against.
Well, I think we do, in fact, have to practice what we preach. If we want to have other countries cooperate with the United Nations on human rights, we have to be seen as doing the same thing. So I think that fits under the same category of a counterproductive action that, that you can explain perhaps in the short term, but it has long-term negative consequences for the United States and our foreign policy around the world.
And PJ, talk to me about this. Like, you know, when Ellsberg did the leaks, by a lot of the country, he was seen as a hero because he let us know what was going on, and you know, it was important to figuring out in our democracy which way we should go. And he didn't have any of this. Now you've got a leak, and my God, the reaction is like he's the Unabomber. What's changed in this country for such a stark difference in that period of time?
Well, let me be clear. I believe in this prosecution. I think it's important that we, protect our secrets, and I believe that the leak of these documents to WikiLeaks has, in fact, caused damage to the United States and our interests around the world. But at the same time, we have to be smart about how we exercise power, and I think that the actions at the Quantico brig undercut the credibility and legitimacy and the international perception of the prosecution that I think is actually quite necessary.
All right, P.J. Crowley, former State Department spokesperson, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Pleasure, Cenk.